It is playoff time in the NBA, NHL, baseball's in full swing, and FanDuel is your place to bet on every single game. Right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets guaranteed. That's $150, win or lose. You can bet on everything from slap shots to home runs to slam dunks, all on the app that is safe, secure, and easy to use. So what are you waiting for? Visit FanDuel.com/UCSS and make your first bet an automatic win. FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. And today's winning ticket, we have two today, comes from our guy Wayne on Instagram, who hit a 8-leg same-game parlay from Shane Bieber's last start against Seattle.
Wow.
I told you, we had a bunch in the queue going back to last week, but he had the money line, Bieber over strikeouts, over alternate strikeouts, Castillo over strikeouts and alternate strikeouts, Quan to record a hit, Rodriguez to record a hit, Jose to record a hit. He turned $4 into $106, so shout out to Wayne for the winning ticket there. But, Bull, we got to start with Nick Chubb. This morning, the news came out.
Yes.
You can drop it whenever you want, Steve. You could
drop it like it's hot,
Here
Steve.
It is.
The Browns and star running back Nick Chubb have agreed. This was from me and Rapoport on a rework contract for 2024. What happened?
Keep going. Steve's going crazy in the back.
It's gone. I lost it. To lower his base of $11.775 million. Sources tell me and Tom Pelissero with a chance to earn it back.
They basically cut it in half. They cut the base.
They cut the base. There was do we have that tweet I sent you this morning for Jeremy Fowler? Do we have that one up or no? Yeah, we go. So there you go. So 6 point the cap hit is even less than half because the cap hit, even though his salary was going to be 12, his cap hit was going to be 15.85. Now it's 6.275. Obviously, that's a significant difference, almost $10 million there. Gives him the opportunity to earn up to $12.2 million based on performance levels, which is roughly what he was going to make this year. I think it's a little more.
It's basically what we said it was going to be.
Yeah.
Like it's
we
almost,
were right on the money with it. You're right.
It was going to be 6.
Yeah, we thought
6 could make it all back.
6
I
to
said
8 with the opportunity to make it all back.
Yeah.
I said 6 to 8. Yeah. I mean that's a fair deal.
It's fair
for somebody. It shows you that they got a ton of respect for Nick Chubb
Of course.
because it could have got worse. Like if they was really cutthroat about it, they could have offered him really less than that. But
especially now, Tyvis, because
all the running backs is gone.
There's no team. How many teams need a running back right now?
And then on top of that,
right.
coming off of an injury like that, we'll just draft one instead and have him for 4 years. So they show you how much they really do value Nick Chubb and the person that he is, that they, give him a pretty fair deal, still let him earn a lot of his money back, which I think if he starts week 1, I think he will earn a lot of it back. If he doesn't, it'll be a tough hill or tough climb. But I think they want to keep Nick Chubb in the orange and brown for the rest of his rest of his career.
I'll be curious to see when he's back. If he makes it back for week 1.
I just don't.
I wouldn't bet against him.
I wouldn't bet against him, but
him.
the chances are slim.
Well, you got it. I mean, because they've signed so many guys this offseason, right? You added. Well, I shouldn't say they signed so many. They signed 2 veteran running backs, and you already had Ford, right, and you already had Pierre Strong.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Pierre Strong could obviously be cut, but you signed Deontay Foreman and Nyheim Hines. Now, neither one of those guys is making that much money that you couldn't cut either of them.
Right.
But
you've got options.
You got options, and my guess is if they were 100% confident Nick was going to be ready for week 1,
they wouldn't have done that.
They wouldn't have signed both of those guys.
Probably.
Well, I know they're different type of players.
Still for OTAs, you still need it.
All right, fair.
And for preseason, you still need it. But you could have drafted it.
You could have drafted. You could have signed like a slappy off.
There's a lot of guys you can get off the street for OTAs.
Right.
Those, they're not huge names.
Oh, but
they're
Foreman at least. When you think about it, all right, it's just like how I feel about Tyler Huntley.
Yeah.
You got to have somebody in there that models what your starter is.
That's right.
Foreman is that guy. Jerome Ford and the rest of them is exactly.
Yeah.
So let's get you in there, work you through this offense. We're going to imagine that you Nick Chubb because you're the closest we could get to Nick Chubb in this offense. We need to see what it looks like for timing and stuff like that. So I think that's why they went and got Huntley, and I think that's why they got Foreman. So when the other two are healthy and ready to go, the offense already knows how to react to it because it's a timing thing.
It's a good point. I think either of you guys, part of me was hoping they'd sign him to an extension. Not that they couldn't, but you didn't expect that, right?
No.
I didn't really expect it.
I don't think that would have been a good idea. Like you don't
know what you get.
That's exactly it.
You don't know what you get.
You have to see what
Right. And if he's back to who he is, then they can.
Oh, yeah.
Why would he want to go? I mean,
Well, it depends on.
I guess you never know.
I mean, it depends on how he really feels about having to take this cut, because it is a cut. For right now, it's a cut.
True.
He has the opportunity to make it all back. But right now, it's a cut.
I'd be interested.
But
to
I
see.
do think they took care of him, because you're right. They could have been cutthroat about it.
If this is any other player,
They would have been cut. They probably would have
cut him.
Yeah. Well,
any other player. Nick Chubb is special to the organization.
If they would have cut him, would that have wiped the hit on the cap hit? Period.
I
It
believe
would have
so.
dropped it to $4 million.
Oh, it dropped it to 4?
Oh yeah.
Well, he had a $4 million dead cap, so if he was
Oh,
cut,
okay,
it
I
still
didn't
would
Oh
have.
yeah. If anybody else, they probably would have.
But also, they didn't really have a great replacement for him either. If they had a great, I mean, if Jerome Ford would have exploded last year and taken off with it, we might be having a different conversation today.
You may be right. And generally, I don't think teams care about what a guy means to the organization. I think in 99% of cases, it's all about business. It's all about the bottom line.
Yeah, it is.
I think Nick Chubb, if there's any exception to the rule in Cleveland, it's Nick Chubb.
I agree with that.
He is the best teammate. He's the best. He's the best of it all.
I just think a lot of factors fell exactly the way they needed to fall.
There's no doubt.
In order for this to happen this
Yes.
way. Because if he doesn't get hurt last year, what were we talking about in the summer? About how there's a really uncomfortable situation coming up.
Right.
with Nick
Because
Chubb
he had that $15 million.
Because he's not getting all that money.
Right.
Well, if he doesn't get hurt, again, this could have gone
Right.
much differently.
No.
So a lot of factors fell just the right way in order to make this happen.
I'm actually curious to know what would have
would
happened
happen?
if he, say, he went out there and ran for 1,500 yards and had 13 touchdowns.
Then they probably-
and they come there and say take a cut. It'd be like the Keenan Allen situation.
Right.
No, I'm not about
Yeah.
to take no cut.
I would think in that case you extend him and kind of spread the money out.
Yeah, maybe.
If that happened.
That probably
I mean, if he
would.
was that good, like we still
Yeah.
played
Yeah.
like a superstar.
How old
last
is he?
year. He's
28?
28, isn't he?
I'll double check.
I think he's 28.
I don't know what his age season will be. You know what I mean?
He's
you probably
28. He turns 29 in December of this season.
Yeah.
okay.
And he hasn't had listen, with running backs, they usually go off the cliff before they turn 30. The majority of them.
Well-
but I think to me, he's Adrian Peterson.
Well,
And he's in that
he
same
very
class.
well might be.
And Adrian Peterson was still good into his
Well, the
32,
thing
33 season.
about him is, let's go back to a couple of years ago when
Yeah.
we was all complaining about the touches, the 20 touches.
Right.
The reason that they didn't was
Yeah.
to extend his career. So now maybe
Yeah.
he could go into his 30s and still be the same effect.
Yeah, I mean, he didn't have a crazy amount of carries in college because he had knee surgery there, right? And the Browns haven't, they haven't used him like the Titans used Derrick Henry.
No, they ain't
Right.
running him into the
Right.
ground.
And Derrick Henry can still play, and he's, I think, a year older than Nick Chubb, I believe.
He's just used to it. His body's
Right.
used to that.
Although, to be fair, early in his career, when Derrick Henry first came to the NFL, he didn't play that as much in his first season or two.
Yeah.
Who was the running back?
Chris Johnson, wasn't it?
What's that?
Was
Didn't he cross over with Chris Johnson?
Chris Johnson
I don't
still
remember.
playing?
But I remember when he came
Chris
to the
Johnson
league, I was
wasn't
saying,
playing
why
that
aren't
long.
they playing him more? And then they went from playing him like not enough to playing him more than anybody.
Oh, no.
I'm about to say CJ2K bingo.
Who
They
was he?
were splitting carries, though, I thought, with somebody else. I don't remember who, though.
I don't know why in my head it said Lendale White, but that can't be true, right?
I'll get you guys the answer one second.
No,
He
because
drafted in
that was
16.
Chris Johnson that was splitting carries with him.
His first year, he didn't have a ton of carries, right, Mike?
He had 110 his first year,
Right.
176 his second year. He's been
This
over
is
200
running
every year
back.
since.
Right. I think if I remember correctly, and I don't know if you could do
Oh,
this.
you guys, you ready for this?
Go ahead.
Who he split carries with?
Yeah.
DeMarco Murray.
No.
Didn't he die recently?
He died?
No, he's a running backs coach at
I'm about
Oklahoma.
to
Oh, God, I'm sorry. I thought he
whoa,
died.
whoa.
Yeah, no.
No, Marion Barber died, another former Cowboy,
Yeah,
right?
Marion
Yes.
Barber died.
Marion
Yes,
Barber.
DeMarco
right.
Murray's still very much alive.
Okay, sorry, DeMarco Murray. That's a bad job out of me. I didn't mean to make you dead, buddy.
First,
It is
first
not
OJ,
true.
not DeMarco. Gosh.
He's not dead running backs.
But
today.
I'm telling you, if I remember correctly, Mike, he ran 110 times in his rookie year, and I think his second year, you said he had 176 carries. I bet the majority of them were the second half of the season, because if I remember correctly, the first half he was still getting just a few carries, and then I want to say like the last 6 weeks of his second year, he put up absurd numbers. I want to say he had like 800 yards in the last 6 games. Am I right?
No.
I'm wrong.
His last 6 games of his sophomore season, 32 yards, 79 yards, 109, 20, 19, 25, 51.
That does not equal up to 800.
Did he get more carries at the end of the year? Or no?
Who cares, right?
13, 11, 8, 7, 8, 28. He had 28 carries for 51 yards and no
all right, it's a
touchdowns.
fair
Why are we
point.
talking about Derrick
It's a
Henry?
fair point.
I have no
It's a
idea
fair
how we
point, Jay.
even got. How did we get on Derrick Henry
I have
anyway?
no idea. Oh, because I
We're talking
compared him
about
to
the
Nick
cat
Chubb
wear
getting
and
the
tear.
carries compared to Derrick
will say,
Henry,
so-
and we went
so
down the
Nick Chubb's
sidebar there
career-
for a minute.
Through this point, since he's been drafted in 2018, he has 1,238 carries.
Nick Chubb?
1,238. That is significantly less than Derrick Henry. Significantly less than Adrian Peterson had up to the same age in his career. Now, Peterson had 300 carries in 5 of his first 7 seasons. So he's way above. And he was still effective at year 30. That was the year he ran for 2,000 yards. But Derrick Henry, who was drafted 2 years before, has 1,800 carries since 2018. We're talking significantly less workload, which I know Jay screams every time he's on the show that Nick Chubb didn't get enough carries. Well, in big picture outlook, that may save some tread on his tires for these last year, 2, 3, however long he is less than a Browns uniform.
Let me ask y'all two a question.
Yeah.
Let's go on and say Nick Chubb misses the first 4 games of the season.
Right.
Okay. What does he need by the end of the season for you to feel comfortable for the Browns to extend him for about 2-3 years?
I just think it's almost more the eye test. Like, does he look like Nick Chubb?
I was just going to say that. It's not about the yards.
Because you see Nick Chubb run, and you know he's different than other guys.
You'll know it when you see
Does
it.
he still look that way?
You'll know it when
And
you see
even
it.
if he doesn't the first game or two, I don't care.
Well,
But
I'm not
as
expecting him to.
Right,
yeah.
but once he gets to his 3rd, 4th game and the rest of the season, if he looks like Nick Chubb again, then I'm all in. I'm sticking with him.
Plus, I think we don't even know what this offense is going to look like. I think we have an idea what we think it's going to, but until you see it on the field, we don't even know how it's going to look, let alone because it doesn't.
Right.
Nick Chubb's style does not fit a wide open shotgun approach offense.
Yeah, the spread.
So I'm curious to see how they marry these two together.
They should, like I said last year, they should do the pistol. They should go back to the pistol. If he wants to be behind the quarterback, it's the same thing. He could go boom and just turn around from the
So,
gun
like,
and
the
just turn
pistol,
around.
he's standing right behind him,
Yeah,
right?
just stand right behind Deshaun, boom, turn around, and still downhill. If you don't want to move laterally to get the ball or you want to get straight down, just do the pistol.
Yeah. Now, Nick Chubb got off to a great start last year. I mean, he had a good game against the Bengals, and he was playing well in that next game before, obviously, he got hurt. I think he averaged over 6 yards per carry in his limited
Right
carries.
at dot, 6 yards.
Yeah, so, we'll see. It is. You're right. He's coming back from injury.
Is this the last year of the deal?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, they did not extend the contract. They just
Okay.
reworked the final year.
Okay.
I mean,
This is interesting.
The two most important pieces on your offense are arguably Deshaun Watson and Nick Chubb. They're both coming off serious injuries. And they're certainly the two biggest question marks heading into the season because of the injuries. And with Watson, it's more than just the injuries, but they're the two biggest question marks. But the scale of how good the Browns offense can be, because think about it, if Nick Chubb, Deshaun Watson, and even Jerry Jeudy, now unlike Jerry Jeudy, Watson and Chubb have had success in the league. Judy's just been kind of, decent. But I think we all believe that Jerry Jeudy has more upside. Whether he'll ever reach it, who knows?
Yeah.
But he was drafted in the first round for a reason. He's a talented guy.
Yeah.
If those three guys all reach even close to as good as they can be, the Browns could have the best offense in the NFL, or one of the top, 5 at the very least. Whereas if Watson is the same guy that I've seen for the last 2 years, and Nick Chubb is looking like he's coming off injury, and Jerry Jeudy's the same guy he's been the last few years,
That's a disaster.
they could be a mediocre offense.
That'd be a disaster.
I mean, that's a huge difference right there. And in reality, maybe it's somewhere in between. Maybe 2 of them are close to what their peak is, and 1 is not, or who knows. But
I hope
the upside of this offense is very high.
I hope Deshaun and Judy and everybody just does well this season. I really do, because that'll put a lot of things at ease. I think that'll clear up a lot of pictures moving forward, especially number 4. If number 4 plays well, I think that clears up a lot of stuff heading forward. If he don't, man.
Well, think about this, Tyvis. If Deshaun Watson plays anywhere close to what he was in Houston, then we're not having a conversation. If he has a season where he throws for 4,500 yards and has 29 touchdowns.
He has the G. Bush season.
I'm not going to go that crazy, but like let's say 80% of G. Bush season, right? Because G. Bush had him with like 5,500 yards. I mean, it was just
So
like
you got a G bus season. Take the H off. It's a G bus.
exactly. So G. Bus season. So if he's that kind of quarterback, where you're like, that's a top 10 quarterback. We got a top 10 quarterback. That's what we expected. Now, I guess in the beginning we expected a top 5. I think now we'd settle for top 10. So if he's a top 10 quarterback next year, and then we're not having a conversation probably about quarterback for at least a half a decade. Because if he's back to that guy, then eventually there's another extension, and then you got your quarterback for the next half a decade.
How many years he got after this year?
2.
Two.
This year, then 2 more.
But if he is not, next year the conversation is all about what are you doing at quarterback.
Yeah.
Because then you got to start thinking. And that's a conversation that we've had a lot in Cleveland, Jason, as you know, and we don't want to start having those conversations again.